Hello everyone. In the previous lecture, we discussed techniques for developing scientific attitude. And now we'll focus on in uh, another concept related to scientific attitude or developing scientific attitude is what role a science teacher can play in order to develop that scientific temper or scientific attitude among students. So let us see role of a science teacher in particular in today's lecture, and let us discuss what are the things as a science teacher you can go about to help your students develop scientific temper or scientific attitude. First point is science teachers face a challenging task to inculcate the essence of scientific enterprise among students. Now, scientific attitude or a scientific temper is something which is an abstract concept. Although you can note that while they are performing any activity or conducting any exercise, but it is something which is way of thinking, it is a way of conducting oneself. So it becomes a bit difficult for the science teachers to inculcate that essence because it is not something which you can teach or which you can impart to the students in a day's time or in an year. But it is something which you have to do uh, throughout the time the students are with you, isn't it? In the schools, if you go to see, the students are with you for almost 4 to 5 years. Okay, even if you are not teaching them directly, but the way you conduct yourself, the activities that you conduct in science can help inculcate those values in the students who are around you or who are observing you. So it is definitely a challenging task. It is not something which can be done very easily. Students should be made conversant with scientific way of knowing and thus constructing their knowledge in science. Now when I talk about making students conversant with the scientific way of knowing, it's about making students learn or making students understand what are the ways by which they can explore a given information. Now, in order to understand or learn a concept, what are the scientific processes or what are the scientific steps a person needs to follow? So, I'm basically talking about a research process. It is a scientific process that they have to follow. Now, we will be discussing about the scientific process and the details of it in terms of research or scientific research in the upcoming topics. But as all of you all are aware, and I think you'll be studying it in your actual research paper too, that when you come across any new information or when you want to find about something, when you want to research, you have to follow a particular pattern of what do you call inquiry or a pattern of understanding things. So, as a science teacher, you should be very careful in making students aware of that pattern or that procedure or those steps to be followed so that they know how they can construct their knowledge in science in a scientific manner or in a scientific way. Teachers should structure the learning experiences in such a way that the nature of science becomes an inherent part of all teaching learning situations. Now, when it is about structuring the learning experiences, now whatever that you do in your classroom in order to teach a concept or maybe a whole lesson in the schools, when you are allotted certain units, whenever you are allotted uh, the entire syllabus if you are the class teacher or whoever. Okay, so you have to plan how you will teach each topic and what kind of an experience you would be giving your students, because that experience or the kind of learning experience you give to them will develop that interest in them about the subject of science. Because if you make it boring, if you teach the concepts in science which can be done or can be taught in a better way or in a more interesting manner, maybe by conducting an experiment, by taking the students to the field or maybe to the laboratory, and if instead of doing that, if you do it using a lecture method when you are just imparting the information to them, the students won't feel interested because the nature of the topic is such that it requires some demonstration or some experiment or observation. Okay, so you have to understand what kind of a topic or what kind of an experience you are creating, what kind of a learning experience you are giving to the students while teaching, because in order to develop that love for science and that inclination towards science, it's very important that this learning experience should be taken care of. Historical aspects of the development of scientific concepts should be emphasized. Now, whenever you introduce any topic, okay, or any discovery, or any invention, or when you talk about, for that matter, any concept, so whatever that is a part of our syllabus or our textbooks is because of someone's efforts or someone's research in that particular area. So if you give a few minutes to emphasize those aspects, those historical aspects which are associated with those scientific concepts, they will understand what efforts those people have put in order to come to that concept or that particular idea or bring out that particular uh, concept to the public, or maybe that particular object which is invented or any discovery, isn't it, which is helping the mankind or the humankind, and we are also a part of those beneficiaries, isn't it? So when you give an importance to those people or that process, ultimately they understand that it is not just theory, it is, they are not just pieces of information. But in order to get that information or to reach there, there were many people who have put in efforts in that particular area, isn't it? So those historical aspects can play a very important role in developing that scientific tempo in students, because they know the background or the behind the scenes of what they can see now. So it's very important that as teachers we focus on this particular concept too. Moving ahead, in continuation, it says that it will help the students to appreciate how science evolved by human endeavor and resulted in the development of various technologies. Isn't it? The same thing what we discussed. So it's very important to sensitize the children about that and make your class as interesting as possible. When you think of any topic which will be introducing to the child, because in the, I think the science syllabus which we have in the school is in progression. Like the basics of the concepts are done at the lower standards, and then the complexity increases as they move from lower standard to the higher standard. So you need to focus on, if you create that understanding in them, or you give or show them that aspect of the particular concept, definitely I think the students would be uh, interested to know more about that concept, because they know the background, the history behind it, and they would also appreciate the efforts put by the scientist. And it is important to simultaneously reduce the overload of memorizing facts, which often causes a disinclination towards science. Science is a subject which is more of a theory, but it is a logical subject. Okay, you don't have to actually memorize apart from the definitions which we expect our students to know, because they are definitions and they have to be written the way the person who has quoted them, isn't it? Because the same way it has to be mentioned. So that's a different story. But apart from that, if we think about the concepts which are part of our science syllabus or which are being taught at schools, we have to be careful that we do not emphasize on memorization of those. Instead, we should give them such a learning experience which will not make them, or they will not feel the need of memorizing anything, because they have understood the concept so well that memorization is nowhere in the picture. So it is more or less linked to each other. Okay, the kind of learning experiences that you provide to your children is again linked to what they will do before the exam. So we have to put in our efforts at the basic or the primary job of yours as a teacher, that is to teach. So it's very important that if you take care of that, it will be helpful for you at every later step. Even if it is related to something like this, that is memorizing facts, if you have taught them so well and they have understood in a way which doesn't need them to memorize anything, it will definitely develop interest in them about science, because science is something which needs understanding and which needs to be understood, not memorizing. Then laboratory work in science, infused with the spirit of inquiry, provides students with hands-on experiences and develops a scientific attitude, which is one of the important aims of teaching learning of science. Now, as we also discussed in the previous video, that how a laboratory period, or to what level or to what extent the laboratory time is given importance to, not only by the teachers but also by the students, because that's the time wherein they get an opportunity to practice what they learn in theory practically. So it's very important that you develop that spirit of inquiry in them by posing in front of them certain discrepant events, certain puzzling situations which will make them think or inquire about a given aspect. So it's very important also to give them some hands-on experiences, because until and unless they do it on their own, they won't understand how difficult or how easy it is to do that given task. So as it is said that it is one of the important aims of teaching and learning science. Okay, science is nothing like which we want everyone to know, but we also want people to pursue their career in science, which can only happen if we make an attempt to develop that scientific temper or that scientific attitude among students. Now, the role of the science teacher is crucial to the development of scientific temper among students, isn't it? We all agree to that, because the previous points that we discussed clearly says the same thing. It goes without saying that the teacher should herself be competent in the area she teaches, isn't it? She must be familiar with all the aspects of the nature of science, and she must have imbibed scientific temper herself. As it is previously mentioned, that teacher is a model for the students. Even if the students do not look up to him or her or as a teacher, but even then, sometimes what you do or how you conduct yourself, if you think of developing scientific attitude, your interest, your outlook towards the subject of science, and how you go about learning the subject and how you are interested in the subject would indirectly affect the way your students would look at the subject. So it's very important that teacher should be competent in whatever that he or she is teaching, okay, and at least know what are the things that she or he has to focus on while dealing with the student. And she or he must be familiar with all the aspects of nature of science, wherein since nature of science is a separate subunit, which is a part of our syllabus, wherein we'll see about different aspects associated to that. Okay, so we can have an elaborate discussion on that maybe later. But as a teacher, you should be aware of that nature of science, and make sure that your students also understand it well. And she must have imbibed scientific temper herself. That's what I said. Whatever that you do, you are a model for them, and you affect them in several ways in which you may not even think you could. Okay, so it's very important that you yourself uh, is having a scientific tempo. And such a teacher can exemplify the content of scientific tempo from her everyday conduct. So it's very important that you conduct yourself and you portray your scientific tempo to them, which will motivate them uh, in developing theirs. So activities such as projects, field work, discussion, laboratory work would encourage the students to do science. So such activities you can carry out. And this in turn would learn the skills associated with the inquiry